Story 1. I've been a personal trainer for about 8 years now. Started right after getting my kinesiology degree and worked my way up from the floor staff to one of the senior trainers at the downtown fitness center. I love my job helping people transform their bodies, and their confidence is incredibly rewarding. Last Tuesday was supposed to be a normal day. I had a 10 session with a client who had been training with me for 3 months. He's recovering from a knee surgery and needs specialized attention, which is why we booked the private training room. It's a small space with its own equipment set, away from the main gym floor, specifically designed for clients who need privacy, have medical concerns, or are paying for the premium one-on-one experience. We were about 20 minutes into our session, working through some gentle resistance band exercises for his knee rehabilitation, when the door swung open. A woman in designer workout gear stormed in like she owned the place. She looked to be in her 50s. With that, "I need to speak to your manager" haircut and a scowl that could curdle milk. "Excuse me, this is a private session," I said politely, standing up from where I'd been adjusting my client's form. The woman barely glanced at me as she dropped her designer gym bag on the floor and started rummaging through it. "I need to use this room for my workout." I was confused. "I'm sorry, but this room is booked for private training sessions. We're in the middle of one right now." The woman straightened up, giving me a look like I was something stuck to the bottom of her shoe. "Do you know who I am? I've been a member here for 5 years. I'm a platinum-level member." My client looked uncomfortable, shifting awkwardly on the bench where he'd been sitting. "I understand, but platinum membership doesn't include private use of the training room. You need to book it in advance for a personal training session," I explained, trying to keep my voice level. The woman scoffed. "That's ridiculous. The main floor is too crowded today, and I need my privacy. Surely you can finish whatever this is," she waved dismissively at my client. "Out on the main floor." I stepped between her and my client, my patience wearing thin. "No, we can't. My client has paid for this room for his rehabilitation program. There are medical considerations." My client: "It's okay. I don't want to cause trouble." I turned to him. "No, it's not okay. You booked this room and you need it for your knee." The woman pulled out her phone. "Fine. I'm calling the manager. I've spent thousands of dollars at this gym, and this is how I'm treated." I sighed. "Feel free to speak with management, but for now, I'll have to ask you to leave so we can continue our session." That's when she completely lost it. "Karen, no one talks to me like that. I deserve to use this room. These peasants can work out anywhere." Without warning, she grabbed a 5-pound dumbbell from the nearby rack and hurled it across the room. It hit the full-length mirror on the opposite wall, creating a spiderweb of cracks before falling to the floor. My client and I froze in shock. Karen immediately changed her tune, her face shifting from rage to fake innocence, so fast it was almost comical. "Karen, look what you made me do. You upset me so much I lost my balance. This is your fault." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Ma'am, you just deliberately threw that dumbbell. You need to leave right now before I call security." "Karen, I did no such thing. I was trying to move it and you startled me. You'll be hearing from my lawyer about this hostile treatment." By this point, the commotion had attracted attention. The door opened again, and the gym manager walked in, looking concerned. "Manager, what's going on in here?" Before I could speak, Karen launched into a dramatic performance. "Karen, thank goodness you're here. Your trainer was incredibly rude to me and wouldn't let me use the room, even though I'm a platinum member. Then he startled me and made me drop a weight that damaged your mirror. I want him fired immediately." The manager looked at the cracked mirror, then at me. I shook my head. "That's not what happened." She barged in, demanded to use the room during a paid session, and when I asked her to leave, she threw the dumbbell at the mirror deliberately. "Karen, that's a lie. It's my word against his." The manager stayed surprisingly calm. "Actually, It's your word against the security cameras. Karen's face fell. What? The manager pointed to the small camera in the corner of the room, its red light blinking steadily. We installed them in all private training rooms last month for insurance purposes. Why don't we all take a walk to my office and review the footage? Karen suddenly looked like she might be sick. I don't have time for this. I'll just come back another day. She tried to grab her bag and make a quick exit, but the manager blocked the doorway. Manager, I'm afraid I'm going to need you to come with me. Deliberately damaging gym equipment is a serious violation of membership terms. Karen, you can't prove anything. Manager, the camera already did. Please come with me now, or I'll call security to escort you. Realizing she was cornered, Karen followed the manager out, muttering threats about lawsuits and bad reviews the entire way. The manager turned back to us. I'm very sorry about this interruption. Please continue your session, and we'll send maintenance to secure that mirror as soon as you're finished. It will be replaced by tomorrow. My client and I exchanged looks of disbelief once they left. Client, does that happen often? I laughed, the tension finally breaking. First time someone's thrown a dumbbell, but entitled people? Yeah, more often than you'd think. We managed to get back to our session, though we kept glancing at the cracked mirror as a reminder of what had just happened. About 30 minutes later, as we were finishing up, the manager returned. Manager, just wanted to let you know that we've revoked her membership effective immediately. The footage clearly showed her throwing the dumbbell deliberately. I nodded, relieved. Thanks for handling it. Is she going to pay for the damage? Manager, oh, absolutely. We have her credit card on file, and our terms of service are very clear about members being financially responsible for any damage they cause. Plus, the look on her face when I showed her the video was priceless. She tried to claim it was taken out of context. We all shared a laugh at that. Client, what did she say when you kicked her out? Manager, she demanded a refund for her unused membership fees. I explained that our terms also specify no refunds in cases of membership termination due to violations. She stomped off saying she'd ruin us on social media. I rolled my eyes. Of course she did. Manager, don't worry about it. She already tried posting something, but I commented with a still from the security footage of her mid-dumbbell throw. She deleted it pretty quickly after that. The next day, when I came in for my morning shift, the mirror had already been replaced. Life at the gym went back to normal, but that incident became something of a legend among the staff. Whenever we get a difficult customer now, someone always whispers, "At least they're not throwing dumbbells." The best part? A week later, I saw that same woman trying to sign up at the budget gym across the street. Apparently, she's been blacklisted from all the premium fitness centers in the area. Word travels fast in the fitness community, especially about members who throw weights at mirrors. Karma may lift heavy, but it never misses a rep. Story 2. I never thought I'd be the one to capture a viral video, but life is just full of surprises. I've been working at ValueMart for almost 3 years now, trying to save up enough money to finish my degree in graphic design. The pay isn't great, but my manager is flexible with my class schedule, and most of our customers are decent people. Most of them, anyway. I started as a stock person, but after about 6 months, I was promoted to cashier. The promotion came with a whopping 50-cent raise, but more importantly, it meant I didn't have to lift heavy boxes all day. Instead, I got to interact with people, which I generally enjoy. That was until I met Karen. It was a busy Saturday afternoon in July. The store was packed with weekend shoppers, and we had lines at every register. I'd been on my feet for 5 hours straight with only one short break. My back was aching, but I kept a smile on my face as I scanned items and made small talk with customers. Then she appeared in my line. At first glance, she seemed like any other middle-aged suburban woman, designer sunglasses perched on her head, manicured nails tapping impatiently on her shopping cart. and that distinct aura of someone who believes the world revolves around them. Her cart was overflowing with items, easily $300 worth of merchandise. When it was finally her turn, she started unloading her items onto the belt without so much as a hello. I didn't think much of it. Some people aren't chatty, and that's fine. I scanned her items efficiently, making sure to handle the more delicate things with care. "I have a coupon," she announced as I was about halfway through her order. "No problem. I can add that at the end." She thrust a crumpled piece of paper toward me. I smoothed it out and immediately noticed the issue. It was a special promotion coupon for 75% off the entire purchase, an incredible deal, but it had expired over 6 months ago. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but this coupon expired in January. I can't accept it." She stared at me like I'd just spoken in an alien language. "Karen, what do you mean? You can't accept it. It's your store's coupon." "Yes, but it clearly states the expiration date right here. Store policy is that we can't accept expired coupons." "Karen, that's ridiculous. I just found it in my email. Your company sent it to me." "It's possible you just noticed an old email. Would you like me to check if we have any current promotions I could apply?" "Karen, no, I want to use this coupon. It's not my fault, I just saw the email now." By this point, the customers behind her were shifting uncomfortably. I could feel the line tension building, that collective impatience that comes when one transaction holds up everyone else. I understand it's disappointing, but I really can't override the system for expired coupons. I'd be happy to. Karen, get your manager. Now. I sighed internally, but kept my face neutral as I called my manager over the intercom. While we waited, I could see Karen surveying the growing line behind her with something close to satisfaction. The power to inconvenience multiple people at once seemed to please her. My manager arrived quickly, probably sensing the potential for trouble. "Manager, what seems to be the problem?" I started to explain, but Karen cut me off. "Karen, this child refuses to honor your company's coupon. This is false advertising, and I could sue you for this." My manager, who had dealt with his fair share of difficult customers, calmly took the coupon and examined it. "Manager, ma'am, I apologize, but this coupon is indeed expired. It was a limited-time promotion that ended in January. I can offer you our current promotion of 15% off if you sign up for our rewards program." Karen's face turned an alarming shade of red. "Karen, that's not good enough. I demand you honor this coupon. I drove 45 minutes to get here specifically because of this deal." "Manager, I understand your frustration, but we simply cannot honor coupons that are this far past their expiration date. It's company policy." "Karen, I don't care about your policy. You're going to honor this coupon or else." "Manager, or else what, ma'am?" That was when things went from uncomfortable to unbelievable. "Karen, or I'll make sure everyone knows how you treat your customers." With that declaration, she grabbed her purse and swung it wildly, knocking over an entire display of summer glassware that we had set up near the register. The crash was deafening. Colorful plastic cups, pitchers, and serving trays scattered across the floor in every direction. Several items shattered, sending tiny plastic shards skittering across the linoleum. The entire store went silent for a moment. Then Karen pulled out her phone. "Karen, I'm calling the police. This is unacceptable customer service. You'll be hearing from my lawyer." My manager, maintaining a level of composure I could only admire, nodded calmly. "Manager, feel free to call the police, ma'am. I'll be waiting right here with our security footage." Something about his tone must have given her pause, because she hesitated for just a second before dialing dramatically. Meanwhile, I noticed another customer in line had their phone out, quietly recording the entire scene. I later learned this was a popular food blogger with a significant social media following who happened to be shopping for props that day. Karen launched into a theatrical performance for the 911 operator, claiming she was being harassed and discriminated against by store employees who refused to honor their advertised deals. She demanded officers be sent immediately. To everyone's surprise, 2 police officers did arrive within minutes apparently. They had been handling a minor fender bender in the parking lot when they got the call. "Officer, what seems to be the problem here?" Karen immediately launched into her version of events, painting herself as the victim of corporate greed and false advertising. She conveniently left out the part where she destroyed store property. When she finished her dramatic retelling, my manager simply said, "Manager, we have the entire incident on our security cameras, officers." This woman attempted to use an expired coupon, became verbally abusive when informed it was no longer valid, and then deliberately damaged store property. The officer turned to Karen. "Officer, is this true, ma'am?" "Karen, they're lying. They're trying to scam their customers with bait and switch tactics. I know my rights." "Officer, ma'am, please calm down. We can review the security footage to get a clear picture of what happened." Karen, "Fine, check the footage. You'll see how they discriminated against me." My manager took one of the officers to review the security monitors while the other stayed with Karen, who was now loudly announcing to everyone within earshot that she would own this store when her lawsuit was finished. 10 minutes later, the officer and my manager returned. The officer's expression had changed noticeably. "Officer, ma'am, I've reviewed the footage, and it clearly shows you knocking over the display after being informed your coupon was expired. That constitutes destruction of property." Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Karen, But they were rude to me. They refused to honor their coupon." "Officer, stores have the right to set their coupon policies, ma'am. They don't have to accept expired coupons. However, you don't have the right to destroy property when you don't get your way." To everyone's shock, except maybe the officers, who had probably seen it all, Karen then tried to make a run for it. She barely made it 2 steps before the officers intercepted her. "Officer, ma'am, you're under arrest for destruction of property and attempting to file a false police report." As they escorted a now sobbing Karen out of the store, the customer who had been recording discreetly approached me. "Customer, that was intense. Is it always like this?" "Me, not usually this dramatic. Most people understand what expired means." "Customer, I got the whole thing on video. Do you think your manager would mind if I posted it?" I blurred out your face and the store logo. I directed them to my manager, who, after consulting with corporate, gave permission as long as the store wasn't identifiable. Apparently, corporate thought it might be good to have evidence out there in case Karen tried to twist the story later. The video went up that night on several platforms with the caption, "Coupon Karen gets arrested after destroying store display." By morning, it had over 2 million views. By the end of the week, it was featured on several news sites and morning shows discussing retail rage incidents. True to her word, Karen did try to sue both me personally and the store for emotional distress and defamation. Her lawsuit claimed we had deliberately embarrassed her and caused her public humiliation. What she didn't count on was that the viral video had already established the truth in the court of public opinion. The judge dismissed her case within minutes of reviewing the evidence. To add insult to injury, the store countersued for the cost of the damaged merchandise and legal fees and won. The epilogue to this saga came about 3 months later when a different middle-aged woman approached my register with a stack of neatly clipped, current coupons. She looked vaguely familiar. "Customer, you probably don't recognize me without all the screaming, but I'm Karen's sister. I wanted to apologize for her behavior that day. She's always been difficult, but she's getting help now." "Me, I appreciate that. How is she doing?" Customer, "Community service has been humbling, and she's not allowed in any Valuamart stores for 5 years, so she's had to adjust her shopping habits." We shared a laugh, and I felt a strange sense of closure. Sometimes, justice does get served even in the retail world. Story 3. I never thought I'd become internet famous because of my farmer's market stall, but life is full of surprises. 3 years ago, I quit my office job to follow my passion for baking. The corporate world had drained my soul for too long, and I couldn't take another day of fluorescent lighting and passive-aggressive emails. My grandmother had taught me how to bake when I was just a kid. We spent countless weekends mixing dough and decorating cookies. When she passed away, she left me her recipe book filled with handwritten notes and family secrets. Those recipes became my escape during stressful work weeks, and eventually, my ticket to freedom. Starting a small bakery business wasn't easy. I converted half my apartment into a baking space, woke up at 4 a.m. to prepare fresh goods, and spent my weekends at the local farmer's market. The first few months were tough, barely breaking even, questioning my decision, and missing the security of a regular paycheck. But slowly, I built a loyal customer base who appreciated my traditional recipes with modern twists. That's how I ended up with a regular stall at the Sunday farmer's market downtown. My neighbors were other small business owners: the fruit lady who grew everything herself on a small farm outside town, the cheese guy who made the most amazing goat cheese, and the coffee roaster whose espresso kept us all functioning during the early morning setup. We formed a tight community, helping each other out and watching each other's stalls during bathroom breaks. That's why when the incident happened, it wasn't just about me, it was about all of us. It was a busy Sunday morning in early summer. The market was packed with people enjoying the perfect weather, and my cinnamon rolls had already sold out. I was rearranging my display of lemon bars when I noticed her. A woman in her mid-40s with an expensive-looking handbag and oversized sunglasses was moving systematically from stall to stall. At first, I didn't think much of it, just another customer browsing around. But then I noticed something odd. She wasn't just looking, she was eating. A lot. At the fruit stall, she picked up a strawberry and popped it in her mouth. Then another, and another. The fruit lady was busy with other customers and didn't notice. The woman then moved to the cheese stall, sampling multiple pieces without buying anything. By the time she reached my stall, she had a small basket filled with various items from around the market, none of which seemed to be paid for. I watched as she approached my display of mini fruit tarts. Me, "Hi there, can I help you find something specific today?" She barely glanced at me, picking up one of my apple turnovers. "Woman, I need to try this. Quality check." She took a big bite before I could respond, then made an exaggerated thinking face. "Woman, not bad. The cinnamon is a bit overpowering though. Let me try something else." I stood there shocked as she reached for a lemon bar. Me, "Excuse me, but those aren't free samples. If you'd like to try something, I can cut you a small piece, but..." "Woman, don't you know who I am? I run a very influential food blog. I'm doing you a favor by featuring your products." She said this loudly enough that a few nearby customers turned to look. I felt my face getting hot. "Me, I'm sorry, but I don't give away full-sized items as samples, even for reviews. Each item represents my time, ingredients, and..." "Woman, whatever. I'm quality inspecting for my followers. They trust my opinion on where to spend their money." She took a bite of the lemon bar, then made a face. "Woman, too sour. You should really adjust your recipe." By this point, I noticed my neighboring vendors watching the interaction. The fruit lady had realized what was happening and was checking her display with a frown. "Me, you need to pay for those items you've been collecting from all the stalls." The woman looked at her basket as if surprised it was there. "Woman, they're just samples. Everyone knows food bloggers get free samples. It's how this works. Free advertising." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Me, that's not how the farmer's market works. We're all small business owners here. Those aren't sample sizes you're taking." She rolled her eyes dramatically and reached for another one of my cookies. That's when I gently placed my hand over my display case. "Me, please don't touch anything else unless you intend to purchase it." "Woman, how dare you? Do you know how many followers I have? I can make or break businesses like yours with one post." The people around us had grown quiet, watching the scene unfold. I noticed the coffee vendor a few stalls down had his phone out, pointed in our direction. Me, I'd be happy to set up a proper tasting sometime for your blog. But right now, you need to pay for what you've already taken from me and the other vendors. Woman, this is ridiculous. I'm doing you all a favor. My followers are always looking for new places to try. The fruit lady had come over now, standing beside me. Fruit lady, you took almost a pound of my premium berries. That's $15. Woman, they were samples for my blog. Cheese guy, and about $20 worth of artisanal cheese from my stall. The woman looked around, suddenly realizing she was surrounded by unhappy vendors and curious onlookers. Market manager, what seems to be the problem here? I hadn't noticed the market manager approaching. He was a retired teacher who volunteered to organize the market and keep things running smoothly. Me. This customer has been taking items from multiple vendors, claiming they're free samples for her food blog. The woman straightened her posture, switching to a more professional tone. Woman, I'm a food blogger with a significant following. I was sampling items to feature in my upcoming post about this market. Market manager, do you have a business card? Which blog do you write for? The woman fumbled in her purse. Woman, I seem to have left my cards at home, but my blog is called Taste of the City. Very exclusive. Invitation-only readership. The coffee vendor had walked over now, still holding his phone. Coffee vendor, funny. I can't find any food blog with that name. But I did get your whole sampling spree on video. Been filming for my business TikTok account. Already got 200 views in the last 5 minutes. He turned his phone around, showing a live TikTok stream with comments rapidly appearing. The woman's face went pale, then quickly turned red. Woman, you can't film me without permission. That's illegal. Market manager, actually, this is a public space. Now, you have 2 options. Pay for everything you've taken, or I call the police for theft. The woman looked around, seeming to finally realize the situation she was in. Without another word, she dug into her purse and pulled out her wallet. Woman, fine. But none of you will be featured in my blog now. She slapped down some cash on my table, enough to cover what she'd taken from all of us, though barely. Then she stormed off, leaving her half-eaten samples behind. We all looked at each other, then burst into laughter once she was out of earshot. Coffee vendor, guys, this video is blowing up. Over 1,000 views now. By the next day, the video had over 1 million views. People started calling her Farmers Market Karen, and the incident became a local legend. Even better, supporters started showing up specifically to visit the stalls that had been targeted. The following Sunday, the woman tried to return, wearing a hat and different sunglasses as a disguise. But the market manager spotted her immediately. Market manager, I'm sorry, but after last week's incident, you're no longer welcome at this market. Woman, this is outrageous. You can't ban me. Market manager, I absolutely can. We have a zero-tolerance policy for theft. Several people nearby recognized her from the viral video and started taking pictures. Realizing she was making things worse for herself, she turned and left. My little bakery stall got so much business from the incident that I was able to rent a small commercial kitchen space the following month. Sometimes I wonder if I should send her a thank you note, but I think knowing her free samples scheme cost her access to the best farmers market in town is satisfaction enough. Story 4. As someone who lives with rheumatoid arthritis, I've had good days and bad days ever since my diagnosis 5 years ago. On good days, I can almost forget about my condition. On bad days, even getting out of bed feels like climbing a mountain. That's why I have a legitimate handicapped parking permit, not something I wanted, but something I genuinely need. I work as an accountant at a busy shopping center, and the 3 handicap spots near my office building are literally the difference between me being able to work on my bad days or having to call in sick. Most days, I arrive early enough to get one of those spots without any problem. But last Tuesday changed everything. I was running late because my medication had made me nauseous that morning. By the time I pulled into the shopping center parking lot, it was already 9:15 a.m., 15 minutes after I was supposed to start work. I headed straight for the handicap section, only to find the most ridiculous parking job I'd ever seen in my life. A shiny white luxury SUV was parked diagonally across all 3 handicap spaces, not just taking up multiple spots, literally positioned to maximize the amount of space it occupied. I sat in my car for a moment, thinking there must be some emergency or temporary situation. Maybe someone had a medical crisis. But as I watched, a woman emerged from the coffee shop carrying a drink carrier with multiple cups. She was dressed in designer workout clothes that probably cost more than my monthly rent, oversized sunglasses perched on her head, and she was chatting loudly on her phone as she walked. I rolled down my window. Excuse me, you're parked across all the handicap spaces." She glanced at me, then deliberately looked away and continued her conversation. I was running later by the minute, and my knee was already throbbing, a sign that today was definitely not going to be one of my good days. I pulled my car into a regular spot much farther away and began the painful process of gathering my things. By the time I grabbed my bag and locked my car, she was still standing by her SUV, now typing something on her phone. I decided to try once more as I walked past. "Ma'am, are you aware you're parked across all 3 handicap spaces? Some of us actually need those spots." She looked up from her phone with an expression of pure annoyance. "Karen, I'll just be a minute. I don't want my car to get scratched." I pointed to the handicapped placard visible in my car. That's not how this works. These spaces aren't for convenience, they're for people with disabilities." "Karen, oh please, don't be so dramatic. There are plenty of other spots." "Not spots that are accessible. You need to move your car." Her face suddenly transformed from annoyed to outraged. She dropped her coffee carrier onto the hood of her SUV and clutched at her back dramatically. "Karen, how dare you harass me? Can't you see I'm disabled too?" I looked pointedly at her car, which had no handicapped placard or license plate. "Then where's your permit?" "Karen, it's in the glove compartment. I forgot to put it out." "You're violently harassing a disabled woman. Help! Someone help me." People started turning to stare. My face burned with embarrassment as I tried to calm the situation. "I'm not harassing you. I'm just asking you to park legally so people who need these spaces can use them." "Karen, help. This person is threatening me. Call security." A shop owner from the nearby bakery came out, looking concerned. "Baker, is everything okay out here?" "Karen, no. This person is harassing me because of my disability. Call the police right now." I couldn't believe what was happening. I was going to be extremely late for work. My knee was killing me, and now I was being accused of harassment for simply asking someone to follow the law. She's parked illegally across all 3 handicap spaces and doesn't have a permit. I just asked her to move her car." The baker looked at the parking situation, then back at the woman who was now leaning dramatically against her vehicle, moaning about her condition. "Baker, ma'am, do you need medical assistance?" "Karen, no. I need that horrible person to leave me alone. Call the police." The baker gave me a skeptical look but pulled out his phone. I sighed and decided to just go to work and let the authorities handle it. As I started limping toward my office building, I heard the baker speaking to emergency services, describing not a medical emergency but a parking dispute. About 20 minutes later, as I was trying to focus on spreadsheets despite the pain in my knee, my desk phone rang. It was our receptionist. "Receptionist, there are 2 police officers here who want to speak with you about an incident in the parking lot." My stomach dropped. Was I actually going to get in trouble for this? I made my way back downstairs, my knee protesting with every step. In the lobby stood 2 officers, looking professional but not particularly concerned. I explained my side of the story briefly, showing them my legitimate handicapped placard and ID. Officer 1, thank you for your statement. We're talking to everyone involved. Would you mind showing us exactly where this happened? We walked outside to find quite a scene. The woman was still there, now sitting in the driver's seat of her SUV with the door open, dramatically fanning herself. Her vehicle was still parked across all 3 spaces. A small crowd of onlookers had gathered, including the baker who had called the police. Officer 2 approached her vehicle, while Officer 1 stayed with me at a distance. Officer 2. Ma'am, may I see your handicapped parking permit? Karen, it's in my glove compartment. I have a severe back condition. That person over there was screaming at me and threatening me because of my disability. I started to protest, but Officer 1 held up a hand, indicating I should let them handle it. Officer 2, I'll need to see that permit, please. She made a show of painfully reaching over to open her glove compartment, then rummaged around before producing a handicapped placard. From where I stood, something looked off about it. Officer 2 examined it carefully, then walked back to his patrol car. He spoke into his radio, then checked something on his computer. After a few minutes, he returned to her vehicle. Officer 2. Ma'am, this permit number doesn't match our records for this name. Can I see your ID, please? Her demeanor changed instantly. Karen, this is ridiculous. I'm late for my appointment. I have rights. Officer 2, your ID, please. Reluctantly, she handed over her driver's license. After another check, the officer's posture stiffened. Officer 2, ma'am, please step out of the vehicle. Karen, what? Why? I've done nothing wrong. Officer 2, this permit has been reported stolen, and it's been altered. The number and expiration date have been changed. Her face went pale, then red with anger. Karen, that's impossible. My doctor gave it to me. Officer 2, we can sort this out at the station. Please step out of the vehicle. What followed was a spectacular meltdown. She went from claiming disability to suddenly being able to jump out of her SUV and scream in the officer's face. She demanded to speak to their supervisor. She threatened to sue everyone: the police, the shopping center, me, probably the baker too. All trace of her severe back condition had miraculously disappeared. Officer 1 explained to me what was happening. Officer 1, the permit she's using was reported stolen from an elderly resident at a nursing home 3 months ago. Someone altered the expiration date and permit number, but did a pretty amateur job of it. We've been looking for it as part of a string of similar thefts. Me, so she's been using a stolen permit. Officer 1, it appears so. And parking like that, taking up all 3 spaces, that's not just inconsiderate, it's multiple violations. In the end, they issued her citations for illegal parking, misuse of a handicapped permit, possession of a stolen altered government document, and creating a public disturbance. Her SUV was towed, and she was taken to the police station for further questioning. As it turned out, she had been using stolen handicapped permits for over a year to get premium parking at shopping centers, her gym, and even concert venues. Someone had captured video of her meltdown and the revelation about the stolen permit on their phone, and it went viral on social media within hours. The most satisfying part came a week later when I received a formal apology letter from the shopping center management, along with notice that they were adding 3 more handicapped spaces near my building and implementing regular security patrols to ensure they weren't being misused. I also learned through the local news that Karen was facing multiple charges, including theft and fraud. Apparently, this wasn't her first entitled stunt. She had a history of similar behavior, including returning worn clothes for full refunds and making false insurance claims. These days, I always get a parking spot when I need one, and occasionally, someone recognizes me as that person from the viral video who stood up to parking lot Karen. It's not the fame I ever expected, but I'm glad something positive came from the experience. Sometimes, standing up for what's right is worth the trouble, even when your knee hurts and you're late for work.